zachitika kuti zachitika nthawi zanji kodi nanga amene wapanga ndani musakhale nawo gulu lovutika ndi mphekesera ayi tapangani subscribe ku Malawi Daily Headlines lero kuti zochitika mdziko mwanu momwe zisamakuphonyeni. Pamene Commission of Inquiry ikupitilira kufunsa mafunso former Director General ku National Intelligence Service olemekezeka Dr. Dokani Ngwira, tatiyeni timve mafunso momwe awafunsira komanso momwe ayankhira kumeneko. Ngati mwangotipeza kumene tapangani subscribe komanso like kuti update ina iliyonse isamakuphonyeni mnthawi yake. Takhalani pomwepo.
Into who was behind the incitement at the time. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, investigations, police conduct investigations. We gather information for intelligence, sometimes even to assist the police in their investigations. I differentiate that because the police will be gathering evidential, maybe to go to court and and the like, whilst for the purposes of intelligence is to neutralize the threats or to see what can be done to improve the systems, things like those. So yes, there are reports. Actually, what I have been reporting is coming from those reports that I can recorrect because I don't have access to those reports now, and that is more than 2 years ago. And considering, Chair, that now I'm mostly about vessels and my farm there, farming bananas and other things. So I wouldn't want to be misplacing names and what, but I am sure in those reports some names are there. Even on the Nchew incidents, some names are there. And if maybe I was very, very certain about how the committee or this nation can protect me, some of these names I may recorrect, but knowing where we live and where I was born, I've been in the service from 1997. The safest way, Chair, just to respond to Ngarabe North, if the committee wants access to these reports and praying that the service will cooperate properly, they are available there. They should be able to avail them to you. That is because some of them is basically by way of memos going to the president. Some of them are field reports coming to the departments that prepare those memos. So the DG, because he's the one who has a mandate to decide what may be a risk to national security, me, I'm outside. I can only give advice here and there. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you. Let me just follow up on the conspiracy theory, because you mentioned in your report there was a conspiracy theory. And it started at the scene when Mr. Valera returned to join the group. That's what you're writing. One of the political leaders of Afford shouted, "This government wanted to kill my father. And now they have killed Chilima." You're saying this ignited cries by some women from his party, some from UTM, that the MCP had killed the late vice president. And you're saying this was the root cause of the conspiracy theories. Would you be able to recall or tell the committee the name of this leader of Afford? Because there is evidence there that we would like to pursue and get to the bottom of the matter.
Chair, for now I'm just a villager, Chair, and I beg your indulgence. As I said, all this intelligence is there, they should be able to give you, Chair. But also, when you look at certain public pronouncements, and then you find out who was there, on that time, you are able to deduce, Chair, on the, who made these things, But I maybe to say it was a root cause, it's an overstatement. Maybe if I put it that way, maybe it's wrong. But it was the start. It was the start, not the root cause. Because even at the SIWA, the day the SIWA was declared, sorry for me to say this, there were members of certain political parties, including the ruling party. When they came, normally when you come at the SIWA, I correct this now because the way it was reported, You come to the Siwa Mapepesa, then you go and sit down. just like everybody. But it was like an operation. You have 8 or 10 top leadership talking to so many people, you know. And I think some of the leaders maybe of UTM may correct some people talking to them by way of voice condoling, but also raising certain questions. And, you know, normally officers will make sure that they are in earshot of certain things. So from the CY, it was very apparent, and even leadership was warned that this funeral is going to be a very problematic funeral, because you could tell then there's a trend that there has been a decision somewhere that it was going to be used for politicking. Sorry for me to say that, Chair. As blanket as it is, Chair, and hoping that by the grace of God, I am still safe.
Yeah, no, I understand, but this is a serious allegation, and you have said you want to help this committee to find answers. You have mentioned names of Varela and others in the report. Why are you unable to tell us the senior political leader of Ford who made this serious allegation that the government wanted to kill his father, and now they have killed Chilima? We cannot walk here away and take your statements lightly, because that's the whole purpose we're here, okay, is to uncover this allegation. Now, you are a former Director General of NIS. You are willing to walk away here without disclosing to this committee, and you're referring us to the office when we have not been assured that there have been any reports that were submitted to that office. You are here, we are together, the public is listening, okay? We don't want people to speculate and wait for us to read reports. We want to hear it from the horse's mouth, because you are the one that has written this report. Would you be kind enough or generous enough to advise us who made these allegations?
Chair, let me put it this way, Chair, and I really understand, you know, that the committee needs the information. That is why my understanding is probably that's why you brought in the former MDF commander, you brought in the current MDF commander, but in this case it is only me who doesn't even have the product, you know, because the product, the intelligence product, is in the hands of the incumbent. Let me put it that way. But also, you have used the word generosity, Chair. Generosity must be measured, you know. And when I leave this place, I get into my car, go home. It is me. I'm alone. And with the knowledge that I have, Chair, from the history of intelligence, whether here in Malawi or elsewhere, you will allow me, Chair, not to mention those names. I mentioned the Varelas and the like because I was referring to what they reported to this committee. But maybe the other nuance is that I am not making allegations. I was asked to bring intelligence as I recorrect it. You know, and this is what I brought you. Now it is up to the service to say, the former DG was lying. You know, we don't have that, you know, because they are in the government, and your committee has a mandate to engage them. That this is what I can advise, because at least they are protected, you know, if I recorrect the way I was protected when I was in the service. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. No, I appreciate that, and it's unfortunate that you don't want to divulge any information for security reasons. That's what you're saying. You're worried about your security. But yeah, supplementary. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair. I had similar question. The question you asked former DG, I had the similar question. Now, to be honest, Honorable Chair, we are all Malawians. We are here because of what you said in 9 and 10. Because I want to quote your words, conspiracy theories. We are here because of this. If there wasn't this, we wouldn't be here. Yeah? So we need to get to the source. And the start of the conspiracy theory is with this leader, which is mentioned, from what you have said. So, Chair, I wanted to request, since it looks like the former DG will not tell us the name, is it possible for the committee to write whoever, so that they can actually give us the name, because we need to interview this so that we get to the root of the whole issue. And also, Chair, riding on this advantage you gave me, I would also want to, in that letter, because it looks like the DG will not tell us, the former DG will not tell us, we should also ask about the political parties that kind of sponsored violence in Icheo, so that we have those names as well, and then we pursue the issue. So, Chair, I wanted to request, if the former DG will not tell us, but we should pursue this issue as a committee, so that the issue is actually settled. And if I remember very well, the Madam Mary Chirima also complained about the risk that she experienced when she was going to the funeral. So this is quite important that the committee should actually look into. So I wanted to make that suggestion since I think my questions, because I had the questions you have, but I think the former DG may not tell us at the moment. Thank you, Chair.
No, we will follow up. I don't want us to belabor the point. We will follow up. And the problem is that he's making this personal statement because he was on the site, and we don't know whether he made a report to NIS to this effect, that even if we write NIS, they would confirm this fact. That's a challenge that we have. The other challenge I have is the allegations he has stated here are bordering on the root cause of the crash. Okay? Yes, we will be concerned about what happened in Cheo. That's incidental. Things have happened. But we want to get to the bottom of the matter, the root cause of the problem. And unfortunately, he is not able to divulge any names at this stage. So, as a committee, as you have guided, we'll try and find means. But I don't want to belabor the point. I think the matter has been made. It's very clear that it's something we need to follow up.
Point of order, Chair.
Yeah, but I have other people that are on the queue, so I don't want us to go forth and backwards. So can I? I know, but he's not ready to engage. He has shut down.
Chair, may you allow me to say something? Chair, I was not on the site. I think I indicated earlier on that the Director General is the first consumer of the intelligence product. Whatever I have reported here is what I have consumed as intelligence, and that I'm sharing with you. That is why I was saying that this is not something that, I just came, sat down and say what, no. It's what I try to recorrect from the intelligence product that I consumed. If they sound like allegations, Chair, it's unfortunate. But I feel, that's why sometimes, sorry for me to say this, Chair, the way maybe our friends, they are doing in South Africa, where they have an evidence lead, who investigates some of these things. Because some of these things, like the one you are asking in Chikangawa, people made a lot of statements, even in the public. To the same extent of what I'm pointing out, what happened in Chikangawa. And because the anger, and I say this, Chair, as a national security expert, if, for example, the day the president was going to Ncheo, the then president, I even recollect some people, some senior officers telling the president not to go to Ncheo because it is not going to be well. That's why we even had to talk to the military to deploy heavily. In fact, the moment on the way back, the moment we passed with the convoy, the people were coming behind us were heavily stoned. We're talking more than 20 vehicles, So this is it is a serious issue. If we are honest with ourselves, yes, what happened in Chikangawa is a very serious. We need to look at the gaps and what should never happen again. The same way, because even lives were lost there. Maybe it's something I didn't mention. If I recollect very well, 3 or so people lost their lives because of and that anger was not natural anger. Because sometimes it could have been natural anger. This was anger that was actually fermented as a way of an operation by certain quarters. And I wish if I was in the system, knowing I'm protected, those people who have worked with me know I always told truth to power. That's why even, that at certain times things happen. But anyway, Chair, I thought I needed to point out that. So it's not like I'm just bringing things up.
No, thank you very much. Blantyre Malabada, Mwanza Central, and then Kasungu North.
Thank you very much, Chair. My question is from page 1. Mr. Ngwira depicts that you had officers at Kia on official duties of state security. I've got 3 questions from that. It's been discovered that Kia does not have any CCTV footage of that particular day. Would your officers not have been able to detect that since they were working there on official duties? Second question, what was the actual scope of the work of your officers at that particular time and day? Third question, the NIS being responsible for security of the president, would they not consider the flying of the president or vice president into bad weather a threat? Thank you, Chair.
Let me take those questions.
Chair, I think the issue of the CCTV, airport police, I think would better assist you, Chair, because the CCTV at the airport is under their command, because they're the ones that do the physical protection there. But in terms of the scope of the work for intelligence, sorry for me to say that, but every international airport you go to has intelligence officers. As I said, we protect key government installations, we protect the integrity of the state, so an entry point is very critical. We may not interface directly with the public, but to make sure that systems are working. That's why it's important, of course, that you asked me that question. But I think for the CCTV, you know, it is. But also the CCTV at the airport, I don't know if it covers how much it covers the what do you call it on the ground there. I mean that is something that it may be looked at into. In terms of bad weather, Chair, this is purely for the people flying the aircraft and the aviation. Of course, where somebody ignored, you know, maybe a warning of bad weather, you know, intelligence would report as that person being a threat. But for us to be telling the pilot there's bad weather, you can't fly, that kind of mandate the NIS does not have, you know. But that is purely between the pilot and the people that advise the pilot on when it is safe to fly or not. That's why all of us, when we fly there, we'll be suffering the turbulence in the air together there. Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you, Chair.
Mwanza Central, and then there's Kasungu North. Then we come to Zomba Tondwe.
Thank you very much, Chair. Let me start by asking the former NIS DG again if the Vice President was classified as VVIP, because that question was not answered.
Chair, may I respond?
Yes, please.
Chair, through you to the honourable member, what I recall the question was he on the radar, you know, of NIS, you know, as somebody the NIS was monitoring. As a VVIP, there is only one bigger VVIP than the Vice President, and that is the President. And then number 2 is the Vice President. He was a VVIP, as serious as it can get.
Yes, thank you. That's what I wanted to know. Now, on your paragraph labeled 1, the officers at Kamuzu International Airport reported to you or reported that the Vice President had departed from Mzuzu to attend the funeral of late Rafael Kasambara, who passed on 7th June 2024. Bearing in mind that the Vice President was in Korea and he arrived on 9th at Bakili Muluzi Airport, did you get information that the Vice President is back in the country?
Chair, I may have, but I don't recollect somebody specifically reporting to me that the Vice President is back in the airport, in the country.
Well, I need a straight answer, former DG. Did your officers inform you that the Vice President was back in the country?
No, they did not inform me, and they were not obliged to inform me.
Thank you very much. When did you get to know that the Vice President was back from Korea? If you can mention the date.
On the 10th.
You knew on the 10th?
Yes.
Okay.
In actual fact, Chair, I think I should have actually even been out of the country by then, because I was preparing to fly ahead of the President. Just scheduling of aircrafts made it that I was supposed to travel now with the President. So for me, it was basically preparing, and operationally, most of the things now had been handed over already to my deputy.
Thank you very much, Chair. Now, the late Vice President being a VVIP, is the intelligence involved in...
zachitika kuti zachitika nthawi zanji kodi nanga amene wapanga ndani musakhale nawo ngulu lovutika ndi mphekesera ayi tapangani subscribe ku Malawi Daily Headlines lero kuti zochitika mdziko manu momwe zisamakuphonyeni.